This is a really quick game, but it's very instructional. He opens with this very weak f4 move opening, and then comes out like this. Stockfish recommends d5. I was looking at d5. I know you've got to come back through the center when you're being when there's an attack coming on the wings, you attack in the center, and vice versa. If you're being attacked in the center, then you counter attack on the wings. It's one of the ideas. Okay, so I'm going to do this, which is not the best plan at all, because it gives d5 square. I want to stop that d5 square a little bit there. So, yeah, I mean, Stockfish really wants to push, so I push. And then, interesting, knight attacks the bishop, and I was looking at these kind of weaknesses here and just wanted to put a clamp down on his position. So I entered inside there. The fish doesn't like it so much because d5 can now be undermined. Notice how the game has very much been around this d5 square so far. From the engine's point of view, I wasn't seeing it like this so much, but I did know that d5 was important. I considered this for a long time. I spent a long time on this move. It was either here or there, and I decided to go with there because I thought, here's this nice little pin, and if white, it might provoke. It's a provocative move, so I want to provoke him to doing that. Then I can enter with the knight and get a greater attack on the rook. But, you know, probably still not a very good idea, because even if I went there, and then if he took the bishop and then I take the rook, then he takes my knight, I lose two minor pieces for a rook. So not good thinking there by the lance. And so he comes out here. Stockfish doesn't like such moves. Much prefers to develop the minor pieces first. Absolutely, thank you. I saw that one right away. Now, I was a little worried about him coming down here. Then my knight would be pinned, and then he takes that, and then my knight's under attack. So let's just have a quick look and see what happens if he comes down there. Check. Oh, wow, look at that. Nice. Oh, man, I never saw that. Oh, it sets up the protection like that. Awesome. I'm going to remember that. That's great. I was under the assumption that you'd need to bring it back and block it. I forgot about that. So, and that's because here, you know, I'm looking at it back here. Well, where does the knight move? And I was a bit worried, but I did it anyway. So here, I was happy to see that, because then it's not so bad. He hasn't got a direct attack on that anymore. He does this, though. What did I just do back then? I came back, passive move, remember? Now that gives him the initiative. He doesn't use his initiative very well. When you've got that kind of initiative, maybe you do want to capture such a powerful knight. This is a really powerful knight. It's the octopus knight, so-called octopus knight, because it hits all those 8 squares. Bit of pressure there on that. So if white were to consider bringing these two pieces out, he couldn't, because then his queen would be under attack, and if there was anything sitting there. So that's why, whereas this bishop, not so strong, can't go there, that's passive, nothing there, you see? So this bishop isn't as valuable as the knight, so he should take it. That's what Stockfish is saying. And Stockfish also, interestingly enough, wanted to challenge that knight right away. So this is what he did instead. And that's probably the better move to play, to break the pin using the bishop. But, you know, I still wanted to keep that provocation going. Yeah, not a good move at all there by black, because you're just chomping on granite. But I just thought if this ever moves forward, it'll stop him from moving forward. It might scare him or something, but, you know, it's not obvious because there's no other minor pieces to help. The bishop can't really help with that line of attack. So yes, okay, was that recommended by the engine? It was not. The engine's recommendation is to come down there and then hit that bishop. And then where's that bishop going to go? It's kind of starting to look a little bit foolish. It's going to come back there, but what for? The knight's not being under attack. There's nothing there anymore. So yeah, nice attack there, and you're putting now a triple attack on the pinned piece. So that's good. But he resolved the tension right away. I thought he might think that I would do that. So I thought, nah, I don't want him to trade off and then double my pawns there, and I don't want him to get what he thought he was going to get. So I took him by surprise with this. And, then he comes in and does this. Probably he'd been looking at that before. So now he's got a double attack on there. This knight has now become very powerful. Extremely powerful. When I saw that, I realized, yeah, you just got to eliminate it right now. So I did. So he takes, and then, yeah, why not there? So now black has got a good edge, a little bit of a good edge now. So he wanted to come down there, and I can't help wondering why. So I go there, my edge has just dropped. Because, so let's just have a quick look and see what it was. So he's got that, if my queen goes there. So now that's a threat. That's actually a threat, because then it hits my queen. Whereas if I were to do that, what would he have done? You see? Makes a difference. There's no reason for doing that right now. And it also puts an indirect attack on the undefended queen. That queen is an undefended piece, so there could potentially be some tactics here. I could potentially open up and go for a queen trade. That develops my king for the end game. So that puts black in an advantage. So that's why he wanted to go down here. Anyway, so I go up there. It already looks bad, or at least not as good. Now I did wonder about this move. This was kind of interesting. I thought, do I come back here? Because he wants to take, and then I want to take back with my bishop, so that now my bishop is looking at that. But I thought, once again, let's take him by surprise and go this way, hit his rook. And now I've got that as a potential target as well. He still doesn't take it. This is what I wanted to do though. Now he wants to bring an attack on the bishop, so I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it back here. If I go this way, then when I get here, can he attack me with anything? And I didn't see anything that he can attack me with right away. I did not see that. So he goes there because he saw it. And now I can see that he's got an attack on that bishop. And all this little knight's got to do is move out of the way and hit something like that. And that gives him a bit of time if he's got an attack on the bishop. He's got time to make those moves. So I want to get out. So I got out, but Stockfish likes the idea of going forward with that pawn. Interesting. Interesting idea, because you use the fact that the knight's there to create like a tether. Interesting. What's the threat? Let's have a quick look at what the threat might be. So the threat is to get those pawns rolling and to create a pawn storm against the king, because as we can see, the king is kind of weak and open. All the pieces over on this side of the board. Yeah, and that's what we should always be aware of, is the opponent's king position. So he wants to, his middle game plan is to get those pawns rolling, whereas I didn't have a plan. I was kind of just playing by tactical things, capture, attack the queen while it's there. And he's also kind of playing that way too. And maybe not necessarily with a plan, but this is the difference between us and the engine, is that the engine has a plan, and that's it there. Charge on the white king. So good plan. Anyway, I play defensively, and Stockfish hates it. So he brings out the queen, and you know what, I did sort of see something, didn't I? But I didn't see exactly what I needed to see. That's interesting. He wants to bring it right back. I wonder what would have happened if he brought it right back. Let's take a look. He goes back, and then that's how we get draws. That's when you hear about drawn positions. But he doesn't want to draw. He thinks he can win. So, that's fine. Let's go back to the game. And I open up this F file. And now we'll stop the game here because black loses awfully. Really, really badly, because I didn't see this plan. I wasn't looking at this plan at all. What I was looking at now is the position of my own king. And I was wondering, where shall I castle? I can't castle this way anymore. Although I did definitely consider it, but then I thought, it's going to be too easy for him to get these things rolling, and then we've got rooks coming up the board against that open file on my king, and I don't have a lot of protection for the king. So long term, that wouldn't be so good. What about that? I considered that, but then what if my queen moves, and then there's a potential something against there? So I couldn't do that either. So then I thought, well, then the last thing to do is to castle. But what I didn't see is that the king is actually quite safe right now, and this rook is going to go here anyway. This rook is not interested in coming over the king's side. Not when it's got a nice juicy half-open file like that there to play on. So it makes much more sense to get a rolling plan like that going. Much, much better idea. So I made the error, terrible strategic error of castling kingside, and I had this notion in mind of that. However, there was something that I saw back here when he moved there, and I wonder if you can see it. There's a problem in black's position. There it is there. The queen is undefended. My queen is unprotected. So, if anybody wanted to make any kind of weird king moves, probably that one was the best one after all, because it'd be at least offering a little bit of protection to the queen. And then it would allow me to do what I did. So I didn't think about, I saw that. I did see that, and then I forgot about it. So chess is very much about working short-term memory, your working memory, and you've got to remember things. So I had to remember the fact that this queen was undefended, even though I'd seen that fact just a few moments before. And then guess what I did? Well, let's see what black did. Black immediately took advantage of my situation, and that's what the fish recommended I do, but I blundered and then resigned shortly after. Alright, so I hope the game was instructional for everybody, and good luck with your games.